Welcome to The Kitchen Table, a show dedicated to helping you escape diet culture, gain trust with food, honor your body, and live a brighter life. Hello and welcome back to The Kitchen Table. I am so glad you're here. I'm your host, Alicia Brown, an anti-diet registered dietitian nutritionist. And hey, happy Monday. I hope you had a great weekend as well. I hope you're sucking up all of the joy possible during this Christmas season. I know I am. I know that I've caught glimpses of the Christmas spirit between Thanksgiving and now, but now knowing that it's crunch time leading up to Christmas, I'm pulling out all the stops. I want all of the Christmas movies. I want all of the smells of Christmas. I want all of the tastes of Christmas. I want to absorb as much Christmas that Christmas has to offer in these final days leading up to Christmas. I'm not sure if you feel the same way. I think my husband is so sick of Christmas movies, Christmas love story movies. I think he's so sick of that. I don't know if I could make another round of cookies, but I think that I will. Just soaking up all of what the season has to offer and all of the joy that it has to offer as well. And what we've been doing every Monday on the show has been the Holiday Food Joy series. Yes, and this is drawing to a close. This is the last episode of the Holiday Food Joy series, and it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure to really use this holiday season as a chance for us to reconnect with ourselves and our bodies, even during the most chaotic time of the year, which generally is the holiday season. And so how can we really stay embodied during the holiday season? How can we continue to let our bodies lead? How can we continue to nourish ourselves with food? And how can we continue to feel confident in honoring our bodies and beyond? These are all questions that we have been asking as part of the Holiday Food Joy series. And I want to thank you for being a part of it with me. In this last episode of the Holiday Food Joy series, I want to sink my teeth into that embodiment piece a little bit more and really talk about what we might do when we really feel like we are struggling with food and with body, because actually, we don't have enough time. This is the last episode of the Holiday Food Joy series to talk about the anxieties, frustrations, and all of the other things that can come up during the holiday season. But I really want to give you something that you can keep with you that can really guide you in whatever experience you're having throughout the holiday season, even if we didn't cover it on the show. I want to give you a tool that can help you even when you're really feeling backed in a corner and are having very negative thoughts about your body, very negative thoughts about food, and a little bit of light. I want to shine on that, a little bit of light on that contraction. I want to give you something that could help guide you out of that. And I feel like one of the greatest tools that I have to give you is the gift of embodiment and helping you let your body lead, even in those really, really difficult times where it's like, I don't know what to do. All I know is this sucks. The food thoughts that I'm having are difficult. The body thoughts that I'm having are difficult. And I don't know if I'll find ever my way out of this. I know that I've been there feeling those thoughts and thinking those thoughts to myself. I've so been there. And I really don't feel like any shallow piece of advice that we get from anybody else helps guide us out of it. I know during those times, if we voice, maybe to somebody that we believe that we trust, if we voice what's happening internally, if we voice that internal experience, we can really feel like the advice that we're given is something that's not supportive. Sometimes we can feel like, if we're not really feeling great in our bodies, I've heard things like, just try cutting out sugar, or just try to exercise, or just try to do this, or just try to do that, And I really feel like we should caution against giving those pieces of advice, first of all, but secondly, we should really caution our receptiveness to those pieces of advice, because as much as during the really difficult times where we feel backed in a corner in regards to how we're thinking about food in our bodies, when we really feel like we're in a difficult headspace, really not loving how we're looking in the mirror, really feeling not comfortable with what to eat or how much to eat of the thing or how to guide our next move. Those pieces of advice, if we don't sift through them and we latch onto them and we take them and we try to implement them, they can really so much do so much of the time do more harm than good. And this is where I really want to give you some advice that's not shallow, that could actually be supportive. And that advice is to really listen to your own body. And I want to break this down further. How do you feel when somebody gives you that piece of advice and they just say like, oh, you're not feeling comfortable in your body? Just go work out, or just eliminate sugar. These are things that you might have tried before. You might have tried cutting out food groups. You might have tried hopping on another diet. You might have tried just trying to work out more. If that hasn't helped you in the past, quote unquote, be healthier for a sustained amount of time, that's very likely, because that's pretty much all of us, like 95% of us, because research shows that 95% of us have trouble sticking to a diet. And so for the rest of us, for those of us that are in that 95% that have tried just working out more or just picking out a food group, we can feel like we've been there, done that, right? And it hasn't supported us in the past. And so thinking about our past experiences when receiving that kind of advice can feel like contraction, right? Like, oh, just eliminate sugar. How does that feel in your body? How does it feel to receive the advice of just be more physically active? These are things that if your body has an instant, like cringing, tight, tense response to receiving that advice of like, oh, no, lean into that, because that might be a result of your past experience. I don't know for anybody recently that I've talked to where like the thought of restricting food, the thought of manipulating food, or really going 0 to 100 on exercise, that can feel like, holy crap, this is big. Like, oh my gosh, there's so much contraction. This is so overwhelming, but I guess it's like the thing that we've been taught to do. So I probably should do it. And then all of these shoulds come out, and that's just not something that we can sustain. When we feel like we constantly should do this advice from other people, we are trying to fight through that contraction in our bodies to like exercise the way that we feel like we should and eat the way that we feel like we should. And this always backfires. This backfires so often. And the problem in doing that and taking that shallow advice and doing the things that don't really seem to feel right and haven't really worked in the past, the problem is that we, instead of working with our bodies, are working against our bodies. And so again, if you feel like, you know what, after an event where you felt like you have binged, or you really felt like you overate and are not feeling well in your body, or you're having negative thoughts about your body, one thing that I really can recommend to you during that time is to let your body lead by doing the next thing that you feel could support your body in whatever it's feeling right now. And so to break that down further, get really objective about how you're feeling about your body. Get really objective about, rather, the experiences that are happening in your body. How does your body feel in that moment? Maybe you feel a little bit, maybe bloated. Maybe you feel a little bit uncomfortable in some areas. Maybe you're feeling a little bit of tension. Maybe you're feeling tired. Maybe you're feeling any sort of ways. Maybe even just starting with the thought of, wow, I'm really feeling anxious about how my body feels right now. That's an excellent gateway into looking inward at your internal experience, because in that moment we want to shoot right up to the mind and recite all of the narratives, right? All of the narratives from the things that we've heard, even from childhood, of like feeling bad over doing the thing that led us to feeling the way that we're feeling. And the way to unpack that is just to get really objective about the way that we're feeling, so we can maybe reach a point of acceptance in the way we're feeling right now. It's how it always works. We move from resistance to acceptance, and then exploring opportunities. Those are the three realms that we're always working in. So in resistance, this is where we're like fighting all of those negative food and body thoughts. This is where we're fighting the narratives in our mind based on how we're feeling. But if we just get to the root of actually what that feeling is, maybe you take a couple of deep breaths and really tune into the body. Maybe you close your eyes. Maybe you reduce sensory input so you can really see what's happening in your own internal experience and get very objective about how you're feeling, almost like you are a third party to your mind's thoughts, your body's feelings, and you're just assessing yourself as a whole and saying, where am I at right now? When we see really where we're at right now, we can kind of begin to explore what opportunities we have from this point. Okay, so we are feeling, like I mentioned earlier, maybe we're feeling bloated and uncomfortable. First of all, those are very normal human feelings to experience. It's so normal to feel bloated after a meal. It's so normal to overeat. It's so normal to feel uncomfortable after mealtimes for a plethora of reasons, especially during the holiday season. So really acknowledging our thoughts, validating those thoughts, and recognizing we're not alone in feeling the feelings that we are feeling can really help bring us to a place of acceptance and really feeling, okay, this is how we're feeling. How can we move to that next realm? What can I do to support my body in the realm here of opportunities that we're in now? How can I explore how I might honor my body in the state that it's in right now? So that's how we've moved from resistance to acceptance to now opportunities. How can I best support my body in feeling bloated right now? What is the next thing that could feel good and supportive for my body right now? Is it going from being vertical to horizontal? Do I need to lay down for a moment? Do I need to take a nap? Do I need to drink some water? Would some gentle movement feel good? Do I need to go to the bathroom? Right? Like, what could feel most supportive in my body right now? It's a great question to ask, knowing that it's so normal not to feel 100% and healthy and energetic all the time. We can honor our bodies in a state of being unwell, in a state of being low energy, in a state of being uncomfortable. Even in those moments, we can choose to honor the body by doing the next thing that could feel more supportive, more comfortable, more honoring, more nourishing to the body during those moments. Even in feeling all of that discomfort, all of that anxiety, we can still use it as an opportunity to build body trust. And so that's what I want to give you on the show today is no matter what emotion you're feeling as a result of food and body stuff that's surfacing during the holiday season, if you are able to move through that resistance by being objective about how your body is feeling, really letting yourself feel the feelings that you're feeling rather than turning to the quick things that seem to try to want to fix it. Been there, done that. Those quick fixes, they're not sustainable. Let's lean into the body and how it's feeling instead. Let's lean into that resistance. Let's lead into those uncomfortable feelings and get very objective about those feelings. Getting objective about how our body is currently feeling can lead us into a place of acceptance. Okay, this is how my body is feeling right now. What could be the next best thing to honor my body in the current state that it's in? Again, water, gentle movement. Do I need a journal? Do I need to call a friend? What tools do we have in our toolbox, in our realm of opportunities, in the opportunities realm, to really nourish and support the body as it is in its current state? That next right thing, if we choose to say yes to that next thing after leading into all of the discomfort, we can still find more comfort, we can still find more joy, and in doing that, we can establish more body trust. In essence, that is exactly what body trust is, because the body can still trust. Even though it feels uncomfortable and even though there is discomfort, we can still know that the body can still know that it can depend on us to get its needs met in some way. It's a part of us saying like, thank you still for being here for me, body. I am still here to support you and nourish you, even in the state that you're in right now. That can also help us relieve any of the frustration and shame and anxiety that we might have surrounding the thing and just be in a place of like support for our body as it is. It can help us do the next right nourishing thing for ourselves. That is something that nobody talks about. That is something that nobody's really saying in like the diet culture landscape of like honor your body. But that's what I mean by honoring our body. It's like leaning into that resistance, not going to the quick fix of hopping on the next diet or just making a commitment to exercise more. It is lean into the body and address the most prominent need that's showing up for it right now. And if this is like totally taboo and you're not sure like how to do that next right thing or how to lean into those feelings or how to acknowledge that discomfort or how to lean into that resistance to find more acceptance to discover more opportunities, if this seems like something that's so out of reach right now, that's also totally normal. It's really hard to be in our feeling body when we so often exist in our thinking mind instead. That's like usually where we reside, and we just think about all of the thoughts that we have and we kind of like live in that space. But if you need help going from the thinking mind to the feeling body so that we can get its needs met, that's exactly what I'm here for. And throughout the end of the year, I am onboarding clients. If you are seeking help in this work, I'm onboarding 2 more clients only, just to keep my schedule light as I develop a new program that I'm going to be launching in the new year that I cannot wait to share with you about. La-di-da, it's going to be awesome. But specifically, we're in the work of intuitive eating and going from, again, like that thinking mind to the feeling body, so we can better recognize hunger and fullness and satisfaction. And really even more than that, if we can recognize anxiety, tension, anger, frustration, if we can recognize what happiness and joy and bliss feels like in the body, we can recognize how we can honor the body more and more every day and build that trust. I have to share, my cousin Mary's in the living room right now watching Amelia, and Mary's arms just shot up in the air and did like this like super fun like yay to Amelia. And I want to just like shift that energy over to you here listening as well. Like, yay, we can find this bliss, we can find this joy, we can have like this smile that comes on our face that we didn't even think about, but it's just like how we're feeling. Is our way to just like show that joy, and experiencing that and embodying that is also part of the work of really recognizing what contraction feels like, what expansion is, and how we can navigate through that contraction to find more expansion, to find more joy, to find more bliss and purpose and life and energy in the ways that we engage with food and think about our bodies. And so I hope this was serving to you in some way. I know that this is not another quick tip. This is not another just shallow holiday advice episode. This is truly like, if you're feeling alone and isolated in your food and body experience this holiday season, like, please know you're not alone in that. And also know that like, even during those times where you feel like your body is foreign to you, there can be trust built in just doing that next thing that feels most supportive, if you can pinpoint that. As small as it is, by letting yourself have a moment of alone time or a moment of connection or whatever that might mean for you, getting a blanket and having your body feel warm and cozy, whatever that might mean for you, that can build body trust. And so that can be your superpower. That can be a way that you can get your needs met with food and with movement and otherwise. Just honor that next thing that feels most supportive to the body. You will build body trust. Thank you so much for tuning in with me on this episode, and we will be back on Thursday with an amazing guest. But until then, please take a moment to pull out your phones right now and hit the subscribe button on this show so that you don't miss an episode. And if you gleaned anything from this episode as the last episode of the Food Joy series, if you gleaned anything from any of the episodes as part of this podcast, oh, Amelia. If you've gleaned anything from this podcast at all, please screenshot it and share it on social media. That so gets the word and the message out. And you can always feel free to tag me in a post and to also follow me at aliciabrown.rdn. All right, have a marvelous day. Honor your bodies throughout the duration of this holiday season. Merry Christmas and happy holidays. And we will see you again on Thursday for a Christmas episode.